Have you ever heard the phrase that is the root of all evils, never get into debt? That is slavery. And that is true to a certain extent, because when you're drowning in debt, your life is over. While you're trying to pay your debts are not waiting for you. They're growing day by day. Since no one lends money for free, there is always an interest. Despite all of this, the United States has embraced that total U.S. consumer debt is almost $15 trillion, which brings the average household debt to over $5,000. The U.S. GDP is over $22 trillion, which means the entire economy consists out of that. But I have some good news for you. That isn't always bad. That is the unpopular opinion. Because most of the debt we have is bad debt. You probably have some credit card debts, a car loan, and maybe a student debt. And you're thinking, it will take me decades to pay off all these debts. How on earth can that be something good? In order to understand how that can be something positive, let's take a look at how people with deep pockets still use debt to make even more money. It might sound a bit confusing. Why would anyone with a lot of money use debt in the first place? That is supposed to be used by people who do not have money. That's not how capitalism works. You will find a link in the description to see how you can use debt to make more money. That is a powerful tool if you know how to use it. In this video, you will find out how rich people use that to make more money. So give this video a thumbs up and let's get right into it. Number 1. Most of the trade is based on debt. It might sound a bit controversial because borrowing money to start a business is a horrible idea. And personally, I would never do that. But there are businesses, especially traditional businesses, where using debt is your best option. Let's say you want to sell notebooks. It's a very common product, and there's pretty much always a demand for it. Ideally, you would fly to China and find a factory that produces that kind of notebook with good quality and the right price. You would purchase a container of notebooks, ship them to the US, and distribute them to your clients. But today, that's mostly done online through websites like Amazon. But here's the catch. You don't really have to pay for the products to have the product. First, let me explain how, in the past 50 years, China has become the factory of the world, producing literally everything. Thousands of factories working non-stop to produce everything that the world needs. And in order to make it easier to sell, most of these factories would gladly loan you their products in return, that you will pay them sometime in the future. Of course, they will not lend to strangers, so you will have to build some kind of trust with them first. But that's how business has been running for the past 50 years. Once the client would sell the product in the US or any other parts of the world, he would pay the factory and borrow more products. You're basically telling the factory, you know how to produce it, so let me help you sell it. If I can sell it for anything above this price, that's going to be my profit. What makes this strategy great is that you're not tying up your own money in this transaction. That's why selling is one of the greatest skills you can ever master. Number 2, refinancing real estate debt is the best kind of debt because it's filled with loopholes. If you don't have a mortgage, then you're paying extra taxes. Rich people always have multiple mortgages to be able to get all those deductions. Remember, every dollar that you're supposed to pay in taxes, but instead you save, is an extra dollar earned. So that's another way rich people get richer. But let me give you a more practical way. This is how basically rich people get rich in real estate. Let's say you saved $100,000. That's a lot of money. But if we're going to be honest, that's peanuts. You can't even buy a house. Of course, you can get a mortgage up to $400,000 since you must make a 20% down payment. But here's the secret. Let's say you find a property that costs $500,000. It's in a bad condition and needs some or maybe a lot of renovation. You head to a bank and get a mortgage by making a 20% down payment. Let's say you're going to spend around 10% of the total cost of the house to renovate it, or around $50,000. You head to that bank again, but this time to refinance your mortgage. When you got your first mortgage, the value of that property was just under $500,000 because it was in such a bad condition that no one wanted to live there. But since you have renovated it, now there are people who want to rent it out. So the market value of that property, let's say, rises to $600,000. Like the first time, let's say you're going to get an 80% mortgage. 80% out of $600,000 is $480,000. $300,000 out of that money is going to go to your first bank that gave you the first mortgage. Deducting another $50,000 that you spent on renovation, you're going to be left with an extra profit of $130,000. You made $130,000 using debt, and you're left with a property that you can rent out to build equity and generate passive income. On top of that, you're going to avoid paying taxes because you have a mortgage. This is a very common practice among real estate investors. Can you really say after that debt is bad? I will leave that for you to answer in the comment section below. Number 3, Forex. Here's how it works. In short, Forex is a market where currencies are traded. It makes international trade possible. You can't use US dollar in China. You must buy Chinese yen to pay your employees, for example, in China. So, there is a market for anyone, or any company can come in and purchase foreign currencies. And based on different factors, these currencies fluctuate. For example, the Fed raises interest rates that will limit the supply of dollar in the market and make US dollars stronger against other currencies, or vice versa. So if you can predict which currencies will rise or fall, you can make a lot of money in this market. But what makes these markets so different from the rest is that for every dollar you use to trade in Forex, you can borrow an additional $100. That means if you trade using your $1,000, you can hold a position worth $100,000. If you end up making a small profit, like 1%, it will be huge. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, subscribe and turn on the notifications. You're welcome to the channel, where you will learn everything there is to know about money. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.